Well, it's a really crappy day here in Northeast PA. It's raining, nothing to do outside. Looks like it's going to be cold the next couple days, so that kind of rules out doing any rust removal or painting under the hood there. But I'm going to move along with this power steering pump. I took the pressure relief valve out of it last night. I wasn't going to take it out. There's no real reason to. I figured it would just flush out in the parts washer. But then I realized my cleaning solution seemed to have an effect on the Teflon. I said nylon yesterday. Teflon seals that seal up pretty much everything on here. I already threw them out. You can see the remnants there on the plug. They're actually bulging out, so I don't know if it swelled them up or again it just had an effect. So I ended up taking it all apart. No big deal. I got the wrong paint from Eastwood. I got this red stuff, so I ordered the black rust encapsulator and 2 cans of chassis black because I'm going to use this stuff on the frame of the truck too. So I got to wait for that to come. Maybe it'll come today, maybe it won't. It's not that big of a deal. But I'll at least get it in the red colored one there. And I'll get this thing rebuilt and then we'll start on something else. Hey Reese, say hi. My buddy Reese. I just have a couple parts I want to touch up. Like I said, I took that pressure relief apart. Had to switch over to my cell phone, my used video camera I bought off of eBay. I only have one battery and that went dead. So I didn't want to let these soak into the front differential on a Polaris. And the housing's aluminum. I left it sit in here for a couple days, and for the most part there were no issues with other aluminum parts, but one of the parts was sitting in here with a dissimilar metal. I don't know if there was a brass piece in there and a steel piece or whatever. The solution here caused a reaction with it, and it really corroded the piece of aluminum. Wire brushed off pretty easy, but I don't want to take that chance with this because the rebuild kit didn't come with new bushings. I don't know what these bushings are made of, but that was my primary concern with leaving it in here. So I didn't let it soak. I just put a little more elbow grease into it. It's cleaning up pretty easy. I'm only doing this pump for the video, really. I'll buy a rebuilt power steering pump for these Fords. They're fairly inexpensive. But the seal and O-ring kit I think was only, I don't even think it was $10. When I pulled that pressure valve out, the relief valve, quite a bit of fluid came out of it, so I want to wash that out really good. I already cleaned this once. But I'm going to paint it, so I want to really kind of make it look good. Not that I'm restoring this truck or anything like that, but it's in good shape. Have it out, might as well make it look nice. I don't think I can get this any cleaner. I'm just going to spray it with some paint prep anyway, so that pretty much takes care of everything. But these Teflon seals definitely react to this solution, so really had no choice, I guess. In the end, I'm glad I did it, because one thing's for sure is I don't want to put this pump on and have it not work, because once they're on the truck, boy, they're hard to, with everything in the way and everything back together, which is the only way I'm going to know if this really worked. They're a beast to get off. You can do it, but especially if you've just got, kind of run-of-the-mill hand tool set. You don't have any flex head ratchets or swivels or things like that. These things are really a nightmare to take apart or to take off. just going to get this cleaned down here and get it all dried off and put back together. I don't have any of that automatic transmission assembly grease. I wish I did. I'm just going to use, I have red high tack, I think it is. Just going to use that for the seals and everything. And the O-rings when I put it together, and then shoot it with some rust encapsulator. Again, I got the wrong one. I have the matte red. I'll just paint it with some Eastwood's. I'm going to use that Eastwood's chassis black over it. Not that it's that important, but I never use the chassis black, so even though I have a black rust encapsulator coming, I'll just save it for the frame. I never use that chassis black, so I figure something like this, I'll test it out. There's two. They have an extreme one and the regular. Extreme one's like $4 more a can. I didn't buy the extreme one. Make sure you blow out all the little passages and I didn't even realize the kit came with instructions. Shows you where everything goes. Alright, what else? Just look everything over. There's 10 of these blades or vanes, or I don't know what the actual term for them is. Maybe it says on here. Just make sure you have them all. Yep, they're vanes. Get yourself these gloves. I don't know what the brand is, but I mean, you can take them on and off a million times. They're really tough. They're nice. Nothing gets through them. They're like double. I like them. Everything looks good. Even if it was broken, I don't think you could buy hard parts for this thing. You just have to, at that point, I'd say just buy a reman unit. But everything looks good. Again, it worked fine when I was using the truck. That doesn't look like a, I could be wrong, but that doesn't look like a Ford sticker to me. So I'm going to guess this thing was probably already rebuilt. I'm only really fixing it, or not fixing it, rebuilding it for the sake of the video, and it was, had a little bit of oil on it, so I have it leak all over everything I'm trying to make look half decent. But I'm going to dry everything off here a little bit better, and go get my assembly lube, so to speak, and some power steering fluid, and I'm going to start putting it together. Alright, real quick. That sticker is from the factory. was just looking in the service manual, and the one I looked at had the exact same sticker. And I'm not going to use this. Too bad too, it's a brand new bottle. Service manual says use Mercon multi-use or equivalent ATF. So I don't know if I have any Mercon up there. I have ATF, just says or equivalent, so I'll just have to see, but that's what I'll use. I'm not going to use the Prestone power steering fluid, so we're ready to start putting this thing back together. Alright, I guess I'll start with putting the seal in this. Just going to use a socket. I got it all cleaned off. Took my heat gun to it just to make sure I got any moisture out of it. Let's start with the seal. Just sits in there flush. Get it started in there. Can't use the handle because the handle's got a bolt that goes in to hold it on. It won't fit through there, so. Easy enough. Alright, now that that's in, here's the shaft. It's got some rust on it, but that's where the seal rides. There's no groove, it's just shiny. I'm not going to try to polish it up or anything like that. I think it's fine. But the first thing we have to do is actually look at the instructions and make it easier rather than trying to remember. Pretty easy to understand. Alright, so you have the seal, the bushing. Bushing's already in there. The kit didn't come with a bushing. That was in French, I believe. And so next would be a thrust washer. Right here. Goes in there, that orientation. You can see that. Remember, it's cone shaped. Let's make sure the inside part goes in first. The concave side would be toward the back of the pump where the plug goes. So that goes next. And it's a thrust plate to body O-ring. Alright, so that's this right here. Here's the thrust plate. I didn't take the O-rings out yet. Should have done that before I started cleaning it, I guess. Didn't think of it. Get those out. Give this thing a quick cleaning because there was quite a bit of stuff trapped under there. Just my mistake. Not paying attention. So let me go clean this up quick, and here, I'm going to do it the easy way. A little brake clean and some compressed air. All done. Alright, so let's find the two O-rings that go in there. I guess this one is a little bit bigger than the other. I'm going to go with these two brown colored ones. This one is going to go on the bigger ones are going to go on the plate. It'd be nice if they told you what color they are, but I mean, clearly this is larger than that. So, yeah, so you're going to have your two brown colored ones if you're using the same kit. They're going to be the ones that go in here. And then this larger one's for the cover plate with the worm tracks in it. And we'll just give them a little grease. Just to make it go together a little bit easier. It slid on easy enough. Drop that one in there. Not much to it, they kind of just slide right in. And if you look, just if you get confused with what the orientation of that thrust plate is, I don't know if you could see this, but there's a little line, little scratch mark, a little wear line right there from that washer, from that thrust washer in the front. So that lets you know this thing's going to go down in here like this. But first, it's got to go on the shaft in this orientation here, because this is the input side of it. And then you'll have the hub that holds the pump vanes. Now this has some marks on it too, and I really don't remember which way it went in, but it's again pretty easy to tell by the marks on it. So it's got these little diamonds on it, which I'm sure is supposed to tell you up or down. So let's just see what I can match it up to, because I could go back in the video and look at what was there. I should have marked it when I took it out, but I didn't. And that's not going to really be of any help. So, let me go back and look in the video and see which way this went. I mean, it really doesn't look like it makes that much of a difference. Alright, I see a difference here. There's a little notch in here, sorta. And that's where the snap ring's sat. So I think the diamonds are going to go up. Doesn't seem to be any other for that snap ring. So let me go, I'm going to go check. Alright, so the next thing to go on is the hub. It's got these diamonds on it. Obviously that's for which side goes where. I didn't note that when I took it apart. I'm going to go back and look in the video quick, but there is a difference. The diamond side, it's recessed here. I believe that's for the snap ring. And this side isn't. There's no way to tell by the wear marks where it goes, because it's sandwiched between these two pieces, and they're pretty much the same as far as any marks they would leave on the hub, which is what I planned on going by. It would have been easier just to take note of what went where. And so let me go back and look at the video, or look at the picture I took, and just get a idea of how that goes in there. I'm going to change these paper towels too, because they're actually dirty, and every time I put something down I get a little more dirt on it. Alright, we got the seal in now, the O-rings. It comes with one black O-ring, slightly larger than there's a similar brown colored O-ring in there. The brown ones go inside. They're the ones that go on the hub here. the thrust plate. It's actually called. Had to look at the instructions. I'm gonna put some little bit of grease on here. Imagine transmission assembly lube would be better, but I don't have any. They just drop in there. Just like that. So then this will go on the shaft like that. The O-rings face the outside of the pump, or the input side of the pump. And then the hub for the vanes, or the rotor for the vanes, it's got diamonds on it. I'm sure indicates in or out. And I don't remember which way. I'm pretty sure the diamonds face up because there's a recess in the hub here for that snap ring. This side doesn't have it. And there's no way to tell on the wear marks here which way it actually went, because this is going to sandwich between here and here. And between these two plates. And they're pretty much the same, kind of the same worm tracks on them, or same holes. So there's no real way to tell. So I'm just going to look back at the video real quick and make sure I got it right. Obviously there's a difference. Basically the diamonds go toward the back cover. And that makes sense. That's where it's got the recess machined into it, and the snap ring will go in there. I'm not giving everybody the middle finger. I got arthritis and this one flared up, and it's making it really hard to work on things. So anyway, I already put a little light coat of grease on here. And real simple goes on there. I don't have any Mercon ATF, so I'm going to have to run a tractor supply and get some before I finish putting this together. But get the snap ring on here. Hopefully it goes on without going flying. I have to try something a little different. This little snap ring is pretty tough. I had a hell of a time getting it off. I'm having a really hard time getting it back on here. I don't want to mar the surface of the shaft, so I'm trying to be careful, but man, is that thing tough. This finger of mine isn't helping. I'm sure Ford makes an essential tool for this thing. Alright, we got it. It's in there, it's seated. Everything spins nice. No reason it really shouldn't. So the next thing would be to put this inside, and if I have to go back to the video again to figure out which way everything goes in here. Oh, forgot I put the thrust washer in. So let's get some grease in the seal. It's probably just a little bit too much, which is perfect. Put a little on the bearing. I don't want to, I mean the pump's pressurized, obviously it wouldn't be a pump. I don't want to block the oil feed holes here. Got the thrust plate, the thrust washer. Just put a light coat on that, or just to hold it in place than anything else. Again, just a little light coat on here. We'll drop this in here. A lot of times when you buy these, just the seal, they'll come with the seal protector when you put it together. But this didn't have that, so I'm going to try to be careful here. turn this in without doing any damage to the seal. In retrospect, I should have put this in and then maybe put the seal over it, have a little more control. Alright, it's in. So that was simple enough. Alright, moving on. Alright, there's definitely an orientation for these alignment pins. Or I'm sorry, for the you have the cam ring that's got a button on it. Just looking at the wear marks, so to speak, on it, you can tell that that goes up. So I'm just going to drop that on there. It's got this little groove right here. Not sure why. It doesn't line up with anything, I'm going to assume, though. Yeah, it doesn't line up with that either. Because you have an oil feed hole for this bushing. I thought maybe it was for that, but it's not. Pretty close, but it just isn't. So I'm just going to kind of get this all clocked in and then look back at the video with this flat spot. Put that where it was lined up on the on the pump. Another thing to do is put these blades in for the vanes, which I kind of started getting a feel for them, and some of them really go in nice and other ones get a little sticky, so see, now it won't fit in there. What I'm thinking is they have a little bit of wear from sliding in and out, and you got to just kind of figure out which orientation. That one's really tight in there. They definitely can't be tight. Like I said, they all have a little bit of a wear mark on them, so for whatever reason, that part of the vane doesn't want to accept that one. It's nice and loose in there. So I'm gonna have to play around with these for a little bit, and there's only 10 of them. Take my time and figure out which ones fit in which location a little bit better. Alright, I got them all in there. I had to play around with them to get the ones that fit in there nice. I'm going to spin this with a drill just to make sure they all kind of move the way they're supposed to. And then nothing really else left to do but put the cap on. This is just a back plate here, or the rear thrust plate, and oh no, they call this the pressure plate. Alright, so that's the pressure plate. Easy enough, you can tell which side goes down. It's fixed, so this doesn't, these two remain in the same orientation. The only wear marks are on this side, so obviously it goes down. But I just want to make sure all these pump vanes are going to move out. And they're all in there nice and loose the way they should be. Inertia just throws them out. So if I spin it, kind of just check them out that way. There were a couple that just, 2 slots where I had to go through it until I just found the right one that would spin in, would go in there nice and free. So I think we're all right there. Trying to stack this up a little bit to keep my pump down where it needs to be. So that'll work. Alright, so we're going to put this thrust plate on, put the back cap on it, and then just going to line it up. I should have marked it, but I didn't. And I'm just going to line up where that flat spot was. I remember taking a picture of it before I took it apart, so I guess I technically did mark it. But put that on, and I'll spin it with a drill, make sure it pumps. Alright, I found some Mercon. Put it in here in these vanes. They slide out really easy now. rather than the little bit of grease I got in there. So to get this on, just to line the pins up and everything, just push the shaft up a little bit, and you can see what you're doing rather than feeling for it, and then just pop it on there. So I'm going to refer back to the picture I took and get this thing clocked the right way. And figured out that that slot that's cutting that rear thrust plate, that's just to feed the it is to feed the oil hole for that wheat pole or whatever that feeds the rear bushing. So now I just got to figure out which way this went. Again, you take it apart. What I should have done was marked it. It would have been a lot easier, but I took a picture, so I'm going to look at that and get it turned the right way. Got my drill all ready to spin it and get everything moving. Make sure it works, and we'll move on to the next thing. Alright, I didn't have the camera on, and I'm not taking this back out. It's too hard to get in there. So the O-ring will stop it. It's going to fall in the channel of the snap ring. Just tap it in. You don't have to beat it up too hard. It takes a little effort. And then to get the snap ring in, all I did was at the biggest channel locks I have here, and just grab here, grab the ring, and just work your way down, pushing it in with your finger, and it'll go in. Then once it's in there, just give a little tap right there, a little tap in the middle. It'll seat the ring. When you get done, give it a spin, make sure everything's going to turn nice. This thing turns really well. So I'm going to get the pressure relief valve back in it, put the plug back in it, then I'm going to put some fluid in it, spin it with the drill, get everything loosened up, because the grease will hold those veins, and you don't want that, or it won't pump anything. So let's get to that. So you've got that Allen key in the end of the shaft there. You can actually hear the veins. They're expanding in there, so I'm pretty sure this is going to work. So let's pour some fluid in here and see what happens. No doubt in my mind this is a bad idea and I'm going to make a mess. But just for shits and giggles, I'm going to try it anyway. I've never actually done this, but I would say it definitely works. That's it. So that's it. It's all done. I had to give it a little respray. I didn't get the whole setup of putting the pulley on camera was off. So you just got the tail end of it. Simple enough. And that tool held up once again.